Hello, everybody. Ted Huntington with another author interview sponsored by Women's Rights Publishing and Author Services. Today, I'm chatting with the exciting, enthusiastic, and enlightening Linny Lawless. Please like and follow our videos on YouTube and support these very informative interviews by becoming a Patreon patron. So, who is Linny Lawless besides the pretty lady on the screen there? Linny grew up in Northern Virginia, and she currently makes her home in Dale City, Virginia. She's both a bookworm and a biker chick with a passion for writing dark and gritty romance. Her characters are often the anti-hero, and her favorite story theme is vengeance. Linny's debut novel, Salvation in Chaos, was released in January of 2018, and since then, her writing has exploded with 35 books. That's what I counted, could be off a little bit, including the tempted and tantalizing coloring book. Linny also serves on the board of directors for Women's Rights Publishing, so we will chat a bit about that amazing organization. Welcome, Linny Lawless.
Thank you.
So,
thank you for having me, Ted.
Well, thanks for joining us. 35 books in about 3.5 years, and you hold down a full-time job. Let's talk about the discipline that it takes to produce that kind of volume of work.
Well, when it comes to discipline, I don't see it. I guess it's a discipline. I think if you're really passionate about something, whatever it is, you just develop a discipline for it. You try to set goals, I guess, like anything else. But I don't see it as like I have to be disciplined about it. It's just something I just do. It's the other parts of my life that I have to be disciplined about, like doing the day job, during the day, and then saying, okay, clocking out, and then I'm going into writer mode. But I think just setting a schedule. Sometimes I can go weeks or maybe even a month or two without any creativity, blocking everything out during the day, all my other things that go on in my life. So what I've adopted is sprint writing, which I'm sure a lot of authors do. I'm still new at this myself. I work with a couple of my other author friends, and we do a sprint write where we set the clock for an hour. And as they say, you write drunk, edit sober. So clock yourself for an hour and just write what's coming, in your head at that moment. And I do that. I average maybe about 1,000 words in an hour. Don't worry about editing it. Don't worry about the spelling. Don't worry about any of that. Just write it out and then go back and edit it. So if I can write 1,000 words a day for an hour, then I can calculate like, okay, I can release this book in this time frame. My books aren't like huge, like 80K words. They're like, I don't know, 25 to 30K words, and they're part of a series. So I guess the discipline is just like getting on your calendar every day and saying, okay, gotta do this, and then I'm gonna write for an hour. So that's how I do it.
So during your downtime, like your few weeks off or a month off or whatever it is, are you still formulating in your brain the next stories?
Oh yes. I've got a bunch of different characters in my head, or something that will inspire me. Like if I am off, taking some time off of everything, I might watch a movie or read a new book and something inspires me. It's usually a character or a storyline. And I kind of like just whip up my own ideas from that. Like, I'll give you an example. When I'm off, when I have some downtime, I love to watch TV. We all love to binge watch, right? I always like to get into TV series where you actually have to watch episodes and seasons to actually get into the character, whether they're a good guy or bad guy. And then you formulate your own, attachment to them. So there was this movie series that came out, I don't know, a couple of years ago. John Wick, I'm sure we've all heard of that. And the character inspired me to write a character of my own with a lot of the John Wick feel to it. It's my first book in my Capital Corruption series called Pushed. And that's the name of the character. His name is Push. No one knows his real name. So sometimes, like I said, on my downtime, I'll read books or I'll watch movies or TV shows that give me ideas for other stories to write. And then of course, they're all in my head. I don't write things down. I might take notes when I do research, write down things in a notebook about, Googling, just weird stuff, like how to describe it in a book. Like today I was trying to describe a payphone, the old payphones, with the glass doors.
I do remember,
And
yes.
okay, when you hang up the phone, what's that thing that you put it in? It's a cradle, right? When you hang up the phone.
Yeah, I guess.
So I was trying to describe it in my book, my new book that I'm writing, and I was like Googling that, so, but that's what I do on my downtime. I just have every ideas in my head and just go with it.
I saw a funny meme this morning. It was somebody who had a thinking cap attached to her while she's sleeping, and it like connected to a recording device so that it would capture her dreams, and she would be able to remember her dreams and translate that into a book. So,
Oh,
some people, they wake up and they're like, oh my God, I have to turn my dream into a book. Or some people have a
yes.
notepad with them all the time, or they record something on their phone when they have an idea. You're just able to keep it in your head and go, I remember that idea. That was
Yeah.
that
And I
that
should write it
movie
down.
inspired me. Yeah.
Yes. And yeah, it could be just something about a character in a movie or storyline. And, I don't want to copy or plagiarize, but I mean, it's just like, oh, it gives me ideas on the story I might be writing right now and go, oh, well, maybe the sister or the cousin or the father, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay. It just gives me more ideas. But yeah,
Yeah.
I can be a scatterbrain though. I don't write things down, and I should, but I do have a notebook by my bedside table. So when I do wake up sometimes in the middle of a dream, I will write it down, even if it doesn't make sense. You read it later, you're like, what the?
Well, one of your other great ideas is book events. It's one of your top marketing tactics. Let's explore that a little bit. How did you get involved with book events, and how do you make them work for you?
Well, before I started writing, before I published, I used to go to a couple of book signing events in my area. There's one that was in Baltimore, Maryland, and I met some of the authors that I fangirl over. And I walked around and saw some of the cover models, that I fangirl over too. Some of those cover models are now on my book covers, but so it was just exciting to actually. I met one author. Her name is Addison Kane. And I'd never read any of her books. I didn't know anything about what she wrote. And she said that she wrote this, it's called Omegaverse. And it's kind of like a sci-fi fantasy thing. And I bought a couple of her books and fell in love with her. And I didn't even know who she was. So it was fun. And it inspired me because I knew a lot of indie authors already. I was reading their books. I was going to these book events, meeting them. I was fangirling like, oh my God, taking pictures with them, getting them to sign books, sign their books. And then when I don't know what, it's a couple of indie authors that inspired me. And I'm like, you know what? I like the genre that I'm reading, which is MC romance. And we can get into that later. And I was like, you know what? I ride a motorcycle. I've been around it for 15 years, around that lifestyle. And I was like, I could write a romance. And so I did, and I told some of the authors about it when I saw them at another book signing. They were all male authors actually writing erotica and romance. And I told my favorite author, his name is Scott Hildreth, about it. And he's like, wow, and he was like plugging my book and everything and promoting it, just on video or whatever. And I don't know, I think it was just that connection that I had with readers. And then when I went to my first book signing, I was sitting on the other side, and it was like I only had one book out. And I was at this big, huge event with like 50 authors in Norfolk, Virginia. It's called SAS. It's Sexy and Sinful something, something. I can't remember the acronyms, but I just remember being there and meeting new readers. And, I don't know, it just felt like I had a connection with them, just like I did on the other side of the table as being a reader. So I still feel that connection. And, of course, I networked a lot. I'm a people person. I love to be around people. And I talked to other readers and other editors and authors there, and they connected me with other people, and I met other people. And then, on social media, I was on all their pages, and then they would have a book event. And so in 2018, 2019, before COVID, I think I was at a book signing event once a month through the summer and through the fall.
So what do you do? What do you do to get your readers to the events and attract them to your booth?
What I do is, well, first thing you do is you get a banner like the one I have here. I have like 4 of them now, different logo colors and all the same logo.
It looks great.
Thank you. Also, of course, your books. Bring your books, even if you've only written one. Just that's what I did. I started out with one, and work with the coordinator, whoever is actually coordinating the book event. And then they will send you every information, where it's going to be, when, the date, the time. You pay for a fee to have a table, So going there, I would have a lot of swag, bookmarks. I have one here. Let me show you. And bookmarks, your books, of course. Here's one of my bookmarks that I just got made. And just having basically, just having a smile on your face. When people come to your table, I even had a reader come to my table one time. It was a very quiet, slow event, not many people there. Then I've had people standing at like a line in front of my table. I couldn't sit down. I had an assistant with me who would, which was great. But there was one event I was sitting there, and this woman, an elderly woman, she came by my table, and I just asked her, I said, what kind of books do you like to read? What kind of, I write in the romance genre, but there's different genres of romance, contemporary and historical. And so I asked her, I said, what kind of romance do you like to read? And she looked right at my book covers and she said, not yours. And she walked away. And wow. What? All I could do was laugh. She just said what she wanted to say. That was trying to be nice, but yeah, I always.
She was honest.
Yes, exactly. And not my books are not for everybody.
Well, you mentioned that you also sometimes invite your cover models to your events.
Yes. So in the industry that I write in, I know most of the photographers and some of the models that are on the book covers. Like here's one, and I'm going to show. This is a collection of 4 of my stories under my Chaos Kings MC, and the models Cassie, and this is Cody Smith, and he's got over 1 million followers on TikTok right now. Everybody knows Cody the comedian. So anyway, I know Cody personally. I've been to some of his photo shoots. So when you go to a book signing event like the ones I go to, the readers, some of the readers, not all of them, do love the covers. That's what attracts them to the book, right? They always say, don't judge a book by its cover. Well, in my industry, you do. So I have brought a few of my cover models with me to book signings, and that brings a lot of attention to your table too, as well.
So do you tell your readers in advance that Cody's going to be at this event, come meet Cody and come meet Linny, but so that I would think works really well. If the guy's got 1 million followers, he's going to attract a lot of people to your booth.
Now, I haven't had Cody yet at one of my book signings, but I'd love to have him. He knows that. But I've had a couple others, Joe Warden and Erica. They're on my cover of Struck in the Crossfire. They're sitting actually on a Harley. And they've been at a couple of my book signings and everybody just loves them. I mean, they're a couple, they're actually married and they're on my cover. And, the readers just flock over to my table. And of course they want to meet the cover model, but I'm like, yeah, come over here, meet. I have a couple that are coming with me this year, actually, or next year. Shane McKinnon, he's on my cover of Cobalt in my Capital Corruption series. And he's a doll, he's a sweetheart. But having them at your table, of course, the readers want to meet them, take pictures with the model. And of course, I'll squeeze myself into, of course, and I'll get the models to sign the book, and I'll sign the book too. And yeah, the readers love it. So if you can bring a cover model, that's a good way to attract. Also, giving out a giveaway, at your table, like giving out a couple of your books signed, or like a gift basket to readers. If they come to your table and they sign up for your newsletter, or they buy one of your books, or things like that, or follow you on Amazon, they can get it. I have like a roll of raffle tickets, and I'll give them a few, and if they win a big gift basket. So it's another way to get your readers, or get readers to your table.
Yeah, those are great
And
ideas.
a smile.
Yeah,
And a
yes.
smile, a welcoming, because a lot of people are introverted. I've even done video like this, a virtual book signing, and met a few readers 2 months ago, and they don't like to be on camera. They don't know what to ask. They didn't even know me. They just knew of me, or they knew me. And they were just so scared to meet me, nervous, right? So what I did was I opened up by asking them, where do they live? Where, what kind of books do they like to read? So it made them feel more comfortable. I wasn't talking about myself like I'm doing right now, but that's what I do when I meet people in person as well. Like, what kind of books do you like to read? Or who's your favorite character in my book? Or have you read my books? So I like to open it up for them.
Those are some great ideas. Moving on, let's talk about your anthologies. Your work is included in several anthologies, including, like I said before, a coloring book. So what do you think are the advantages of taking part in anthologies, and how does a writer go about finding a collection that's being developed to include their work?
Well, I've been in a few. Most anthologies are up, I'd say, between 5 to 10 authors. And usually it's a genre, like a specific theme. Let's say it's just bikers, or say it's all contemporary and it's about cowboys. Each author writes a short story. I'd say 5 to 10K words. We put it all in one book. It's an anthology. And most anthologies are up on Amazon, or on sale for 3 months or to 6 months. But the proceeds, the royalties made from the book, are donated to a charitable cause. I've done a few where the money was donated to BACA, which is Bikers Against Child Abuse. There's all kinds of different charitable organizations you can donate to. And then once, I guess anthologies, they're big now. I don't know why. In the past 2 years, I've seen a lot of anthologies come around. Either the book signings sometimes will promote an anthology and have the authors that are attending that signing join in on an anthology, and say they'll release it when the event happens, like say next year, next June or whatever. And usually they will donate the proceeds to a charitable organization. And then after about 3 months to 6 months, they will return the rights of the story back to the author, and then they can expand on that story and publish on their own, any way they want. So a way, I guess, for me, it's just networking, knowing the right people in my industry. Because I've been around a lot of book signings lately, and networking on social media. That's what I do. That's what everyone's been doing this past year with the pandemic. But that's just how, I guess, in my industry. I don't know about other industries, like a sci-fi, or other different genres of reading. I don't know if they have like anthologies like they do in the romance genre or not. You could probably answer that for me.
Yeah, I've seen anthologies in pretty much any genre, poetry anthologies, a lot of poetry anthologies out there. So how would you suggest somebody, if an author wanted to be part of an anthology, how would they find somebody that's developing one? Or maybe they should just take the bull by the horns and do it themselves, go out and find other authors to collaborate with.
You can do either, you could do both. Start up your own anthology and create a sign up form, and welcome the authors that like I said, it's a lot. For me, my opinion is network. You have to network. It's not just writing, you have to market yourself. I think I'm better at marketing myself than I am at actually writing. Okay. That's why I have editors and proofreaders and beta readers and, because I'm not perfect writer. I don't have like a PhD in, I've never won a Pulitzer Prize, so for me, it's networking. You just got to get out there and meet people. You're selling yourself, I mean, you're marketing yourself, your brand, your reputation. So you either, if someone is interested in doing one, like you just said, any genre, I don't care if it's romance, sci-fi, science fiction. Yeah. Just do it yourself. It's not that hard. You can just talk to other people in the industry, or network, find people that are doing it or collaborating together. I'm in a ton of collaborations this year. I've got one that I've led myself. It's an anthology with 14 authors, and it's the proceeds will go to BACA, Bikers Against Child Abuse. We're going to publish the anthology in January. It's called The Merciless Few, MC. You can see it all on my website. So I'm heading that myself, actually. I've signed up 14 authors. We're all going to write a short story between 5K to 10K words. And each author is part of the Merciless Few Motorcycle Club, but they all have their own state chapter. So I'm Maryland, that's my chapter. One of my authors, her chapter is Ohio, the state. So we can also collaborate with each other. Like I can write one of her characters in my book and she can write one of my characters in her book.
That's kind of cool.
Yes, that's the fun thing about MC romance is, it's a club thing. So you have different hierarchies. It's like the military. You have the president, the vice president, the sergeant at arms, the secretary, the treasurer, and then you can write stories around that character, So I've actually started that up with my author friend, Julie LaFrance. She's great. She's up in Canada. So we're just coordinating together. We've got the covers out. Each author has their own individual cover. So that's going to attract the readers as well. So like I said, you could either head up your own, start your own, or team up with other people. I've been in so many now, I can't even keep track. It gets your name out there. It gets your name out there. Either if you've never written a romance, an MC romance, and you want to try, say, okay, I want to join Linny's, anthology. So your readers that know they've only read your historical romance, for example, and you write an MC romance, you're like, oh, so you're bringing your readers in too, and I'm bringing my readers in. So we're just growing it.
So what made you decide MC romance, that's going to be my niche?
I guess because I ride. I started reading MC romance. I've been reading all my life, but back in the early 2000s, there was a show on TV, Sons of Anarchy. I don't know if you've heard of it, but a lot of people have. It's, bad guys on bikes, right? They were a club. And it kind of brought out that it was a big following. So I started reading books that were romance that were kind of based on that. Bad boy bikers, MC, they're not all good guys. And I was like, wow, this is great stuff. You know, I'm used to reading historical romances, you know, the knight in shining armor, but now it's about, you know, good looking dirty bikers. That's about as far as I'm going to go with that. Okay. So and you know, I ride myself, and I live the lifestyle. So I was like, you know, I could do this. I read my own favorite authors' books, and I could I could do it. So that's what I did. I just started writing one. My first one was Salvation and Chaos, and now I've written 5 now, and they're all in this book set. Um, but that's my favorite. That's my niche, you know, and I'm getting into other genres like paranormal. I've written a book. It's called Blood Moon with my co-writer and dear friend Rowan St. George. I'm going to promote her. She's new. I've known her for 20 years, and she just started writing last year, and she's amazing. We wrote together a new paranormal book. It's called Blood Moon. It's about a motorcycle club, but they're werewolves as well, and they're called the Lunatics MC, like lunar, like the moon. And the setting is in New Orleans in the 1980s, but it goes back to the beginning. In the prologue, the main character, his name is Zeus. They call me the president of the Lunatics MC, but he's a werewolf. They're all werewolves. But it starts out, the setting is, the prologue is 1862 during Civil War. So that's where it starts, and then it moves forward. So we've got a little bit of history in there, and witches and werewolves and bikers, and so it was a fun book to write. So we're going to write a second one next year. But so I'm branching out to other, but I've always got that. I'm always into that MC. But you know, every author's got to find their niche. You know.
But you know, it's like we've always said, write what you know, and you know,
Yes.
you're into the motorcycles, and you know, that's, you know, obviously you still need to do a lot of research, and especially when you
Yes.
branch out into different genres. But you know, write what you know, and certainly that has led to a pretty strong following. You have a huge newsletter list, and you know, you're very popular on the book tour circuit. So
Yeah.
let's now get into a new endeavor that's near and dear to me. You serve on the board of directors. You are secretary on the board of directors for Women's Rights Publishing and Author Services. Tell the viewers about this organization. What's your role? How can other authors take advantage of women's rights services?
Okay. Yeah. You actually reached out to me a couple months ago, and I'm very honored to be part of the board of directors. Women's rights. I was very interested in it because it's about inspiring women to inspire others. If you've always, you know, if you've always wanted to write a book and never felt like you could or couldn't do it, I just want to be there and help other readers, any women, you know, all women, to just pick up the pen or keyboard and write, whether it's poetry or a biography of your life, or a fictional story, which is what I do. I just feel like it's our time. It's 2021, and you know, what would the world do without women, right? We, you know,
It would
we're
end pretty
mothers.
much.
Yeah. We're mothers, we're sisters, we're daughters, we're aunts, we're stepmothers, we're, you know, teachers, athletes, you know, and I see, you know, this day and age, you know, things have changed since, you know, I was growing up, you know, around women. And it's like, I don't know, I just feel like it's our time now, you know. And you know, I just want to help. I've always been supportive of other authors, whether they're new, and you know, and I just feel like if I can do it, you can do it. Okay. And doesn't matter what background you're from, where, we've all had our own struggles in life, but just, I just want to inspire women to get out there and do what they've always wanted to do, what they dreamed of doing. I never thought I would be a writer. And it's not being a writer right now, hopefully someday, is not what pays the bills. Okay. I have a day job that I have to work because it pays the bills, right? My writing is, yes, I make money. But it's just, it's mine, and it's something that I've earned and I'm proud of. And I want to inspire other women to do it, to support them and do
Oh,
it.
well, we're proud to have you on the board, and we're going to
Thank
post
you.
links to women's rights underneath this video and links to all of your books. Linny Lawless, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me, Ted.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.